Welcome back into Erie News Now Sunrise. Well, as the war in Ukraine continues and images of the violence really starts to take over TV screens pretty much anywhere, it's likely that children will hear or see something about what's going on in Ukraine and start asking questions. Now, how to answer those questions is actually the focus of this week's Family Matters segment. Joining me this morning, communications and relationship specialist Pamela Pressler and Melissa Solkowski. Good morning, guys. Good morning. So, Pam, we'll start with you. Really, what is the best way to approach this conversation about talking about war with kids?
So whenever we're having tough conversations with children, Brissa, it's really important that we as the adults, particularly parents or anybody caregiving for children, have a unified message that they're delivering to children. So we want to make sure that we have proactive conversation amongst ourselves, kind of behind closed doors of what do we want that to look like? What do we want to share? What don't we? Because the more we can approach them from the same place, the more security and the more confident children will feel in the message that parents are giving to them.
I think I would just add to that as far as when we're actually having that conversation with kids, once we've lined up as parents, just being able to acknowledge where they're at in their feelings. I think that's very important for kids to feel heard and understood. And then also giving them an opportunity to ask questions. We kind of use the rule of thumb that if they're not asking any more questions, they've kind of emotionally capped out. So to be able to let them ask questions and be able to answer those questions at an age-appropriate level with some sort of balance, certainly not being completely stoic and unemotional in it, but also not over-emotional. Because they're really going to follow your lead. And so the other piece to that would just be, if you're not sure how to answer the question, that you're honest about that. You know, if you and the other parent need an opportunity to regroup and figure out how you want to respond in a unified way, that you say, we're not sure how to answer that. Let us have a conversation and we'll get back to you. That they feel secure in how things are being handled and led.
Gotcha. So why is it important that this conversation is had when children ask questions and kind of not just to avoid the conversation in general?
Well, I think there's a delicate balance for that, Brissa, because we want to be able to share with them and have that conversation, but we want to make sure that we're confident in the message we're delivering so that they can, because they're going to feel that energy and they're going to feel however stressed we are. So that what we say, Melissa and I say, is that kids typically respond as well as their parents do. So we want to make sure that we kind of have our ducks in a row before we're delivering any message to the children, but making sure that we acknowledge whatever they're feeling as important and relevant. And then the other thing would be making sure we check in with them from time to time just to see if they have any concerns or to answer any questions they have.
Gotcha. So really just acknowledging them and making them feel seen and heard. Well, communications and relationship specialists Pamela Pressler and Melissa Solkowski, you guys, thanks so much for sharing your knowledge with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Krista.
We'll be right back.